Hi, welcome to my bookcase tour. I finally did it, everyone. I finally got a new bookcase. I've been talking about doing this for a while. My last bookshelf, if you saw it, was very small. It was overcrowded. It was time. And this is just the basic IKEA Billy bookcase that a lot of booktubers have, but I love it. And it was actually out of stock for a while at my local IKEA, and I got on a waiting list, and it finally arrived. So I picked one up with my husband on Saturday. We celebrated our 5-year anniversary on that little road trip. And I actually bought 2 of these. I just put one of them up. The other one is in storage until I get more books. But as I go through this tour, I'm going to talk a little bit about my approach to acquiring books and why I'm a bit of a book minimalist. And this will hopefully answer some questions I was tagged in for the book acquiring tag. I was tagged by Juan the Reader, who is fantastic. I will link his channel below, and hopefully that'll make this a little more interesting. And I'll also include my husband's bookshelf because he has some board games, and I know that's interesting for some people, so you'll get to see a little bit of that. But that is all for now. Without further ado, on to the bookshelf tour. Okay, here's an overview of my bookcase. As you will see, there is a lot of empty space on my bookcase because I really appreciate only keeping books that are meaningful to me. I have found it very liberating to let go of books I know I will not reread, and I love using the library. Most of the books I have here I have acquired thanks to BookTube. Some of these date further back before I found out about BookTube, but I am slowly building my collection and trying to do so in a very purposeful, meaningful manner. In the top shelf here, we have my Tolkien collection. I do want to get better editions of these, but for now, these will do, of course. This very beat up edition of The Hobbit was actually my husband's, but I kind of took it from him. And this vintage Lord of the Rings set I got from a friend whose uncle passed on, and the family had no need for them, so they let me have them, and I think they're beautiful, so I've enjoyed having those. The Silmarillion is a beat up used copy I got online. And then this next shelf here, we have the Farseer trilogy, which I am reading right now. The Dune editions, which I love. This one is from Sarah Reed. It's so gorgeous. I just love it. This Waterstones edition was gifted to me from my husband. It's absolutely beautiful. And the third one is an edition that was gifted to me from my sister for Christmas. And it has a foreword by Neil Gaiman, and I like it. I like the sleek brown and gold cover. I think it's just really nice and modern looking. And I have all the Abercrombie books. I've read them all so far except for Red Country, and I'm looking forward to picking that one up soon. So I really love that shelf. And that photo, by the way, is my brother's photo. And above that, I think that was a photo taken by him as well. Now, going on here to the next shelf, I have my Malazan Book of the Fallen sort of shelf here. And this old beat up edition of Gardens of the Moon, which you'll see here in a minute, was how I found out about the series. My husband picked it up at a used bookstore after going through a top 100 fantasy books list and saw that Malazan was near the top of the list. And so that was how I got into the series, and I had no idea at the time it was a 10-book series or anything about it, but I loved Gardens of the Moon. That has sentimental value for me. This Memories of Ice edition is also very special to me. Dom gave it to me. He actually sold it to me for just the price of shipping, which was so kind of him because it is so difficult to get trade paperback editions of Memories of Ice. And this Bone Hunters edition was a used library copy, but I love the cover. I just think it's very unique. So some of these Malazan editions are used, but some of them are new, and I love them all. Now this book, the Elric Saga book, was gifted to me from Evie, from She Was Only Evie, and I love it. If you don't know, this was actually one of the first fantasy books I've ever read. It has a foreword by Neil Gaiman because every, I guess, wonderful fantasy book needs a foreword by Neil Gaiman. Beautiful artwork in there. And so I read this as a teen, and it was a bind-up edition that I had at the time that I borrowed from a friend. And I've always wanted another bind-up edition. I found it impossible to find. I searched for many years. So I was so excited that they created these new editions, and I'm so excited to reread the Elric Saga. Now on to this next shelf. I am so happy about this Jenny Wirtz edition, which is a signed edition to Ride Hell's Chasm, which is a standalone. I've heard wonderful things about Jenny Wirtz. I cannot wait to get into her books. She seems like a lovely person as well. So I'm very much excited about that. And then going on from there, I have Guns of the Dawn. Some of these books I have not read yet. I have read the Winter Night trilogy, which was gifted to me from Evie again. I have this beautiful edition of Piranesi by Susanna Clark, gifted to me from Joanna. And also Red Seas Under Red Skies, gifted to me from Jake, Bookish Drummer. Here is Senlin Ascends by Josiah Bancroft. I still need to read that. This is How You Lose the Time War I read, and I enjoyed. I read that recently. And then Rhythm of War, sometime I need to talk about my Sanderson journey, but that was very kindly gifted to me from Leslie, the Nerdy Narrative. And then I have Daniel Abraham's Long Price Quartet, gifted to me from Evie, from She Was Only Evie. I am so excited to read that. Christopher Flies by God's Ears, I just recently picked up. The Vanished Birds was gifted to me from Evie again. I've heard phenomenal things about that book. And Timeline, I've mentioned in a few videos. So here I have some Enneagram books because I love the Enneagram, and some other kind of random genre books. Stranger in a Strange Land I read way before I knew about BookTube. The Neverending Story I read in high school and reread a few years ago. And here I have my nonfiction books, and guess what? This is my dissertation. I can't believe it's so small. It feels like it took forever to write, so I'm surprised it only turned out that long. And then here are some other books. So this Ideas That Shape a Nation by Smith was actually my high school AP history teacher, and he was amazing, award-winning history teacher, and he published the textbook that we used in the class. It was excellent. And Flow was a very important book for me. Behave is now my favorite nonfiction book. This book, The Quiet Trailblazer, I have not yet read, but I have met Mary Frances Early, and I really look forward to it. She is wonderful. And this aesthetics book was also very important and meaningful to me too throughout my journey. So that about concludes those books. Now we're in my husband's office. That is our cat Bagheera, a plant that is kind of dying. And then here we have some books. I'm sorry it is so messy. I didn't warn my husband I was going to do this. He would have cleaned it up probably. But here are some books. The Good Omens book edition I've owned forever. And Earthsea, I haven't read that yet. I did read that Good Omens twice though. My brother actually had it for years and years and years. And he read it several times. He loves that book. And Mage Knight there is my husband's favorite board game, but onto the bottom shelf with more of the board games, we have Dominion, Small World, and Seven Wonders, Cranium. We have this game, Sushi Go. This is kind of a fun party game. Pandemic, Bang, Occam Horror. I am kind of weird in that I like cooperative games. My favorite is Gloomhaven, and we do own that. I don't know where it's stored. And that concludes the bookshelf tour. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. Or if you want to say hi, say hi. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.